We're going to do a show IP BGP neighbor first and see what's happening. And we can see here that we have two neighbors that have been configured. However, neither one has formed an adjacency. They're not gone to the established state. And so because of that, we're going to need to troubleshoot to figure out what's causing these or limiting these from going into that adjacencies. And so we will work from there. So let's go ahead and use some debugs for BGP to see if we can discover the problem. So we're going to use debug IP BGP general and debug IP BGP. Now this should fill up our screen fairly fast, and we'll need to turn that off quickly after we get a couple of inputs here. We're going to shut that off. So let's go ahead and start with our ISP connection first. So let's take a look at that. So that's going to be this 144.28.28.1. And so if we look at some of the outputs here, one of the key things that I key in on is that we see that we're getting, not only we're getting a notification sent. Now anytime a notification is sent in BGP, it automatically disconnects that neighbor adjacency, and as a result they do not have connectivity. Now because of the infinite state of BGP, it's going to continue to try to establish that connection, and so that's the reason why our screen was being filled, simply because it was continuing trying to establish that peer session. So what we're seeing with the highlighted area that I've just highlighted here is that we have a receive open, and we're noting that we are getting a bad AS number from them, which is the 8888, and we are expecting to have 5 8s that are coming in. Now more than likely they know what their AS number is as being a provider, and so as a result we can safely assume that the configuration on our end is probably incorrect. So as a result, we're going to need to go in and adjust that local AS number, or that AS number that we're expecting from that peer, to be able to correct the issue with that neighbor. So we're going to go in and change that. We'll remove the current neighbor adjacency we have. And then we'll create a new one. Helps to put in the correct information. And we should have that corrected. We'll go into again. Let's go ahead and clear that peer. And we see we are in established state. Also, we see that we have received 41 routes from that. That is just a representation of the internet, or it could be the specific routes that we've asked from that provider to send to us. So we see that 1 out of 2 of our adjacencies have been formed now. So now that we're going to be troubleshooting the connection between New York and San Jose, our local routers that we have control over, let's move to the San Jose router and do a debug on it as well. So what we see here is a message saying that 2222, which happens to be the New York router, saying it's refusing the connection because it's saying that the local IP address that's being sourced, the packets that are being sourced for the TCP connection, is the 199.164, which happens to be the outgoing interface of the San Jose router. What this is saying too is that the 222 or New York router is indicating that it's expecting that being sourced from 1111, so therefore it's refusing the connection. Once it refuses that connection, of course, the connection fails, and because of BGP's finite state, it tries to establish a connection again. We can see up here where 222 says the connection failed and refused that connection, closed it remotely, and as a result, it is not going to have a neighbor adjacency. From BGP's perspective, the default source traffic from a device uses the outgoing interface as mentioned. And so as a result, that IP address is not the loopback address. Now, it's best practice in BGP, especially in iBGP neighbor adjacencies, to use the loopback interface, causing it not to have any dependency on the health of any physical interfaces. So as a result, in an iBGP neighbor adjacency or neighbor environment, if there's any way of connecting to that iBGP neighbor through other links or through other connections it has in that environment, using a loopback address is the most dependable way to allow for iBGP to remain stable within that environment. So let's go in and configure the loopback address as the source address on San Jose to ensure that it will be using that as the address when trying to establish a neighbor adjacency with the New York router. So let's go in and fix that BGP neighbor adjacency. So let's look at the config that we have real quick right now. And we can see that we have that single neighbor adjacency or the neighbor adjacency right here with that neighbor. So what we're going to do is say we want to update this to where any communication to this specific neighbor, we want you to use your source address as your loopback address. So we're going to configure that. Says that we've configured it, so we're going to go in there and clear that neighbor adjacency. Although probably don't need to because we don't have adjacency. Give it a moment to form. And we see we're in the established state with our neighbor as well. So now we have all neighbor adjacencies that were expected up and running. And we can see that we have sent and received routes. Specifically, we've accepted 42 from our iBGP neighbor and 41 from the eBGP neighbor. So let's see if the routing table is reflecting that. So we can see this router has chosen 49 routes of all the routes it's received to be placed into the routing table. This means we're receiving duplicate routes, not only from our iBGP neighbor, but also the ones from the ISP, and the ones that are the best routes are being selected. Currently, we can see it's going out 1/1/23, which is our ISP connection. But we want to make sure that our iBGP routes would populate or replace these in the event of a failure. So because of that, let's go ahead and test our failover process. And so we're going to disable that 1/1/23 interface and see if our routes would then be propagated into the routing table based on the neighbor adjacency or the iBGP neighbor adjacency we have with the New York router. So let's disable that interface. So let's take a look at our route table now and see if those routes are now being propagated from our iBGP neighbor. So actually we see as a result we are not receiving or we're not placing those routes into our routing table. Let's look at the BGP to make sure, or first of all, let's make sure we have a neighbor adjacency still to that IBGP neighbor. And we can see we're still in established state and we've received 42 routes from that neighbor, the IBGP neighbor. So let's take a look at the routing table and see what might be going on, or the BGP table, and see any of those routes and maybe be able to figure out what might be going on. And what we can see here is we are receiving those routes, but we're seeing that the next hop is the 144.28.28.1. Now that is not our next hop address or our next hop to that IBGP neighbor or the New York router, but actually the IP address of the New York router's IP's next hop address. So because of that next hop not being a direct next hop for us, but actually the incoming interface for the ISP2 for the New York router, we're seeing that those are not viable next hops for us, and so we are not placing those into our routing table. In fact, we might have a case where this route is not even being advertised into our routing table, allowing us to see that as even a viable next hop. So let's take a look and see if that's the case. So let's do a show IP route 144. And we do not show that we have a route in our routing table for that. Let's do a show IP BGP. So we can see that BGP has a route. However, it's the default route, and even then, the next hop is still the 144.28.28.1, which is not a viable next hop for us. So we're going to have to see how we can be able to get this device to recognize a next hop that's viable, so it would be placing these routes received from that IBGP neighbor into its routing table. So really the two best options we have to resolve this issue is we can either include the ISP port of the New York router into OSPF, allowing that next hop to be advertised to San Jose in an IGP form, or we can use the option within BGP called next hop self. This option allows the New York router that in any of its eBGP discovered routes, before it advertises it to an IBGP neighbor, it will update the source address or the next hop as itself, thus allowing the other IBGP neighbors to be able to see a viable next hop for those routes and be able to place those into their routing table. So in our case, these routes that San Jose has in its BGP database would have a next hop which would indicate the New York router and be viable routes that we could place in the routing table. So in this scenario, let's use the second option where we are going to issue the next hop self in both routers to allow them both to see themselves as or create themselves as the next hop for any eBGP discovered routes that it receives from its ISP connection. So because we have this neighbor or this ISP connection down, let's go over to New York and configure it first for the next hop self. Let's look at that config. And we can see that we have now configured it not only for the update source loopback 1 for our IBGP neighbor as we saw earlier, which allowed us to establish, but also the new config that we've just configured, which is the next hop self, meaning any eBGP routes we're going to advertise to IBGP going towards this neighbor 1111, we're going to use our IP address as the next hop for any of those routes that are being advertised. Let's go back to San Jose now. And let's do a show IP route here and see if now those routes are in our routing table. And we can see indeed that they are in our routing table with the next hop of the physical interface reaching out to our New York router. Let's do a show IP BGP. We can now say that the routes advertised from BGP or an IBGP from New York have a next hop as the 2222, which is the loopback address of that New York router. That 2222 is a viable route via IGP that we have installed on this device. And so those routes can then be placed into the routing table as we saw earlier there. We'll do a quick show IP route of 2222 and we'll see that that is being propagated or placed into the routing table based on OSPF. Now to finish up this exercise, we do need to go into this device as well. If we do a show IP BGP, so if we were to have a failover scenario in New York, the same as we showed here with San Jose, without the next hop self configured here, the routes we're advertising to the New York router also has our ISP's next hop. Therefore, those routes would not be placed in the New York router's routing table either in the event of it having a failure. So we're going to need to go into this router as well and set up the next hop self pointing out to neighbor 2222, allowing San Jose to be the next hop for those routes it's advertising. And let's go ahead and enable our interface again. If I can type correctly.